Ryan, Joel, Jeffrey, Sharon, Stuart.
Jan Swiffer says we need to talk.
Oh, CBI so much going on.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Steve.
What a happy vibe from you guys today.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Alec, do you need for the books? A book. You okay? Got some over there? Good evening. Welcome. Just super happy to be with you. And we're gonna kind of get down to this for those of us who maybe are new to this. We usually take the first little bit and have do some guided meditation, and then just a bit of a quiet sit, and then we sing, and then we'll move into some of the Mariv, some of the evening service. So I encourage you, as I always do, to really let this time be a gift to yourself, a generous gift, and let sitting and settling into your seat be an activity in and of itself. Find a position that feels as comfortable and relaxed as possible for your own unique body. And as we sometimes like to point out, the posture that is comfortable for you today at this moment may be different than it was last week or the week before, and that's completely okay. If you are comfortable just letting your eyes close, you can do that. And if you would rather keep your eyes open, then maybe just find a place, maybe a spot on the floor, some distance in front of you that you can just let your gaze focus on, but in a soft and relaxed kind of way. Letting whatever presents itself to you, physical sensations within your body, sensory awareness, sensory input that may come to you from outside your body in the form of sound or a sense of the temperature of the air, or just the sense of pressure of the points of contact between your body and your seat. Let that just come to you. Whatever is there, let it be completely okay. Remembering, as we so often point out, that one of the most important and consequential terms in Torah is the Hebrew word hineni, from the word hine, which means here, and the e suffix meaning I, hineni, here I am. You might even just silently hear that word in your own mind and heart, hineni. And see if you can open to a loving and accepting and gentle presence who is with you at this moment. That when you hear that word in your heart, hineni, here I am, presence echoes Tov Na'od. Very good. Your heart as well be open to the gratitude. All the other members of this community who are here with you in this room. And all of those who are not here with you in this room, but who are watching and listening at home, both now and later on, because there are other people who just can't get here at this time. It's too difficult or too far away. And so they may be with us this evening. Some people like to listen and to watch before they go to bed or when they wake up in the morning. But let your heart be open to the gratitude, the silent gratitude, the hoda'ah we say in Hebrew, the thankfulness of all the people who are here with you right now. Because to sit with others in this way, to be peaceful and still with others in this way, is different than sitting like this alone. By your very presence, you bring support and strength to everyone who's here, everyone who is listening and watching, and everyone who will do so at some point in the future. Once received an invitation to a birthday party, and the person whose birthday it was going to be indicated that they didn't want a lot of gifts on this particular birthday, and the invitation said, "Your present is your presence." And at this moment, that is deeply true. So, as you sit here, let your attention, your awareness, your interest, oh so gently move toward the rising and falling of your abdomen and your chest and your rib cage as you sit here and breathe. Feel the flow of the air coming in through your mouth or nose. Then leaving your body. Wherever that sensation is most apparent. Whatever part of your body is easiest to focus on and be aware of as you breathe. This is Nishmat Chaim, in the words of Sefer Bereshit, the book of Genesis, in the story of the first people. This is Nishmat Chaim, the breath of life. Nourishing and cleansing your body with each in-breath and each out-breath. So we'll take a couple of minutes just to be with that experience of breathing, taking an interest in each in-breath and each out-breath, and when you notice that your mind has wandered, allow yourself, without any negative self-judgment, without any criticism, to just gently shift your awareness and your focus back to the fact that you are breathing. sing together. Just a nigun, just a simple melody on that word hineni. Here I am, that we touched upon earlier. Whatever the contents of your mind and heart, you might think of letting that word hineni and this melody be a vessel that you can pour some of that inner life into as we sing together. So it's like this. Hineni, hineni, continue to let this time be a gift and a blessing to you as it is to the community. And don't rush. When you're ready, you can let your eyes open. And we are going to move into some of the weekday evening tefillah. If you have a book you want to use, you can just turn to page 4. That's what Baruch Hu is. And we will share some of the prayers together. So also, when I say please rise, that means if you feel like it. So yeah, page 4. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We'll go to page 6. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvidvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, uma'avdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu l'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And on page 8, a blessing in appreciation for Torah, for all the richness of this tradition. We'll sing together. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokfeinu uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla, v'yahavatecha al tasir, Eimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Evayed. Can I have a seat? And we're going to continue with V'ahavta, and it is over on page, well, thank you. Page 12. Just sing together. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh Asher Anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'divartam v'shivtecha v'veitecha u'valechtecha v'aterech u'shofbecha u'v'chumecha u'kshartam le'ot ayadecha v'hayu l'totafot ein einecha u'ptatam al mezuzot beitecha u'b'isharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. And we'll move over to page 16, where we have Mi Chamocha. Stuart, give me another. Every time I get to Mi Chamocha, I blank out. I know 400 of them. Yeah. That's good. Let's do that one.
Is that something to read out on the screen?
I have no idea what that was. Thank you, Steve. Computer is possessed. All right, here we go. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef ele, nora tehilot, osef ele. Malachutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze'elianu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov v'alo b'yad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai va'al Yisrael. Page 18. spread over us a shelter of your peace. Third line. Uferos aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shlomecha, uferos aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shlomecha, ya la la la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, uferos aleinu sukkot, sukkot, shlomecha, ya la la la, ya la la la, la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la 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 la. Page 20 is the Reader's Kaddish, and that will move us toward the Tefillah. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbi, v'yamad yivarach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaychon v'yamechon, v'chayerechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman karev, v'imru amen. Yesh shmei Rabbi mevorach, v'alam ulamei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei d'kudesha b'rihu, v'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yama v'imru amen. Very beautiful. So we turn to page 74, if you're following in the book, and we'll start the tefillah together, a few blessings on the even every pages, and then just go off quietly as you wish. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol, Atah Rab L'Hoshia, Morid Atah, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim B'Rofei Chodim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato Lishenei Afar, Ochabal Gemurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Meimitu Mechayei, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman Atah L'Chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaKol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim HaKadosh. We need to sort of rotate and give other people a chance to sit in this chair, so that you can get the surround sound. It's like THX. It's like Dolby.
You don't know what
Just
happened before you came.
yeah.
I sat in the chair before you got here so I could talk to all of them.
Oh, nice. That's so nice. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. And I sometimes worry about this chair a little bit because I feel like I'm sitting in front of the art. Like, what's that? Anyway, but I mean, the sonics are amazing. So anyway, so I want to. This has nothing to do with the Torah portion per se. It's okay, but it is a metaphor that occurred to me. Kind of popped into my head 5 months ago. I was speaking to one of the astonishingly many students that Rabbi Levy and I have these days who want to be Jewish. They're beating down the doors. Like, people want to be Jewish. And so I was sitting and speaking with this particular person, and they were, people will talk about all kinds of things, and we're learning stuff, and we're talking about what they're thinking of. And this one particular person was, it seemed to me, torturing themselves, as one does, right? Torturing themselves with a lot of questioning about, as they experience Jewish things, were they feeling what they were supposed to feel when they were in services, right? Or were they moved in the way that they were supposed to be moved, or this sort of thing. And I thought about things, and I said, sometimes that can be a bit of a trap or kind of self-sabotage, because if I'm sitting here thinking about, which I mean I do, right? Everybody does, right? But if I'm sitting here, regularly thinking about, what am I supposed to be thinking? What am I supposed to be feeling? Do I actually believe this? If I could write the prayer book, would I have this part in here? If I could edit this, would I take this prayer out? All these different things, right? So it means that part of my awareness is sitting on the shamash of the, of the menorah over there, kind of watching me from a distance, and I'm not really. It's not. It's my best shot at Hineni, but it's not kind of what I might like to have, where I'm actually sort of in this experience. And I was thinking about, well, what other way could I help this person to think about the journey toward Judaism, if that was what they indeed decided to do, that wasn't sort of infused with, as this person and I discussed, the sort of way of thinking about religion of their youth, which was all about, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, am I like, am I in the zone that I'm supposed to be in at this moment? And I actually drew upon a conversation I had with somebody else and said, rather than thinking about this in terms of faith and belief and all that, which is, great, but maybe not the most helpful way for you, I said, imagine that when you become a Jew, you get a key to the great Jewish storage unit. Anybody here have a storage unit?
No.
I'm the only one with a storage unit? I am so embarrassed. Because it's on auto pay. It's on auto pay, and every time I look at the credit card bill, it's now up to $400 a month to store junk. Junk. Huh? Yeah. Have you gone through it yet? There you go.
Yeah, for 10 years we was on auto pay, and then finally,
Yeah.
we all took that some
Mm-hmm.
we all lost.
Yeah.
They've all been moved.
We have a storage unit that we almost emptied out, and then my parents passed away, and all their stuff got put in the storage unit. So it is my covenant, my intention for this July off to empty out the storage unit, as daunting as that is. Yeah. Yeah. Well, having destroyed my own metaphor, let me kind of come back, right? So I said, let's imagine the storage unit is something wonderful and desirable, right? It's original, right? Not the little pieces of hotel soap that your parents saved because they grew up in the Depression and nothing ever got thrown out, right? So I said, you get your key to become Jewish, you get your key to you open it up. I said, and the storage unit is vast, right? It's football fields, and you have your flashlight, right? And you go through, and some of what you shine the flashlight on, you're like, that's amazing. And some of what you shine the flashlight on, you're like, leave it in the storage unit, right? And you sort of go through, you wander through, and you pick these things. I said, and maybe what you pick isn't a self-test of your own mental purity, fitness, whatever you think you're supposed to be. Maybe it's just what you find really interesting. Because there's an aspect of being Jewish as a religious culture, a civilization, a wisdom tradition, which is just, that's really cool, right? And I told this person about another student to whom I had said, do you like to sing? We were talking, and I said, yeah. And I said, and I just tried, for someone who hadn't yet learned how to read Hebrew, to show them how trope works, how the cannellation marks work, right? And I said to this person, I was speaking to the present tense, I said, now somebody who's musical might think trope is really cool. I might want to learn to chant Torah. And they might actually like to chant Torah. I said, but before they get up and read Torah, neither I nor anybody else is going to say to them, do you really believe in God? You're chanting Torah. Going to say, cool, we got somebody to chant Torah, right? Because your love or fascination of the music or the way that you sort of resonate to it actually ends up being a mitzvah for the whole community. You're reading Torah for them, right? So this is one way, right? So you found something you think is really cool in the storage unit. Okay. And I keep using the metaphor, but I usually don't talk about trying to clean out our storage unit because that kind of ruins it. So there is no.
It's a treasure
Yeah.
space, not storage room.
Yeah, it should be. Well, actually, no. Actually, that is correct because there is this Hebrew word, otsar, right? I don't know whether it's modern Hebrew or not. It's used a lot in rabbinic texts. How would you translate otsar?
Treasure?
Yeah. So there are a lot of Jewish books, like reference books, that are called otsar ha something, the treasury of whatever, and it is this image of like the king's. You open it up, and it's whatever that room is in Harry Potter, but you can't talk about J.K. Rowling anymore for right? But yeah.
There was an old sci-fi show. The
Why can't you
Warehouse.
talk about it? What's
Warehouse.
wrong? What'd you do?
We'll talk after services. Huh?
The Warehouse show. It was an old sci-fi show where it was like warehouse in the middle of the desert, and it was like each.
Oh, yeah.
And they went through the things. That's what I imagine.
Yeah.
You say the storage.
Yeah. Okay,
And
so
like
I
you said,
may
find that
say treasury rather than storage unit.
Cool.
I like the sort of earthiness of storage unit, but I think it's more like it doesn't raise it raises images of like obsessive procrastination, not actually, right? Just not the way I want people to think about being Jewish. Right. So people, focus. No, it's okay. How about if we just skip what I was going to do? This is fun and we just like. All right. So I'm just going to do this. I had another idea for this, and I should have gone with that one. And this is good. You like this? Good. As long as you're having fun. Okay. So one thing in my treasury, still like storage unit. Okay, but one thing in my treasury of Judaism is old Jewish books. We don't have time for me to tell you how I got into like old Jewish books, but and I'm just talking like old Jewish books, just as old artifacts of Jewish life and culture. And so, long story short, I was about to leave Great Neck, Long Island, to come to Austin around, early 1991. Because we came here in July of 1991. So, earlier in the year. And I was in my senior Rabbi Jerry Davidson's office, and we were talking about whatever. That I have an apartment in Austin yet, 30 some odd years ago, and I was sort of looking through his books. And I saw in his library, he had a beautiful office with this gorgeous library, and picture the way a rabbi's office in an affluent congregation on Long Island would look, and that was what his office looked like. But it was just beautiful. It was like, we love our rabbi with this gorgeous office. So we were going through, sort of looking, and he had all these bookshelves, and I saw these old books, and I'm looking at them, and he said to me, if you see anything you like, take it. Right, and I pulled some things off and said, oh, those books belong to Jack Rudin. So Jack Rudin was Rabbi Jacob Philip Rudin, of blessed memory, who was not the founding rabbi of Bethel and Great Neck, but was sort of like the great towering rabbi of record up to that point. He was an unbelievable preacher. They published a book of his sermons because he wrote like nobody writes like that anymore, and he had this big, deep, resonant, there's God standing up there kind of voice, as one did in Reform Judaism in those days, and President Kennedy, JFK sent him as a goodwill ambassador to other countries. I mean, he was a person of national repute. And he said, well, some of these books are Jack Rudin's books, and I don't really need them, so take. Unbelievable. So I went through, and I got a few books. And one of the books that I got, not I didn't steal it, and give me permission, were some old, I told you I like old Jewish books, were some old volumes of the Tanakh, of the Hebrew Bible. So this one that I'm holding here is part of and afterwards, if you want to come and take a look at this, you can. I'm going to ask you to be super gentle with it. And I'm sorry that the people online can't see this. So this is the Book of Deuteronomy from an edition of the Torah with commentary called Derech Selula, which translates into English as a paved road, meaning like a smooth path through the Torah, right? And the title page, can't really see it. Yeah, the title page is great, right? The title page is Moses with the rays of light coming out of his head, right? And Aaron, the high priest, and the 12 loaves of bread, and the Ark of the Covenant, and the 10 Commandments, and and then the what I take it to be like the crest of the Jewish family whose crest this was. And it was printed it says here in Fürda, and then in English at the bottom, F-U with 2 dots and umlaut, R-T-H, Fürth, which is a town in, I can't remember now, Bavaria, somewhere in Germany that was a center of Jewish printing. And it has the Hebrew date over here, and I had to take a Post-it note and sit and work out the arithmetic of what this is. So this book was printed 220 years ago. Which as books go is not ancient, but it's like old enough. 220 years ago, in Germany. One of the amazing things about these books like this, as to me, it's just an artifact, is that this particular book was not printed on cheap paper pulp where like you open it up and it like crumbles like a leaf, right? These were printed on rag bond, right? So as old as this is, the pages are supple and beautiful. Among the cool things about this is, and again, I'm just going to hold it up just so you can see, right? So it is printed like your basic sort of rabbinic Bible with the big text of the Torah at the top, and then what's all the teeny little print all around it? Explanations, commentaries, right? Perush, right? Commentary. And one of the things that is to me just so seductive and beautiful about a book like this is that when you look at this and you realize that this was all hand set in actual physical movable type. Some person or people sat with tweezers and set this type, right? The other thing I want to just sort of point out about this is there is a commentary here that to this day nobody's been able to tell me exactly what the provenance of this is. It's got Rashi and it's got the Targum into Aramaic, but over here on the outside edges there is a commentary, and it's called in the headlines. It's called Targum Ashkenazi, which means Ashkenazi Targum, and Targum is like a sort of running commentary, and it's a running translation, but also Targum tends to sort of riff on the text. It's not a literal translation; it's like interpretive. The main Targum here, when we talk about Targum, usually we talk about Aramaic, because in the early synagogue, I'd be reading Torah, and Dan over here might be what was called the Meturgaman. He would stand next to me, and in a running commentary off the top of his head, would translate the Torah. I would stop every few verses, and Dan would translate the Torah into Aramaic, because the Jews sitting there didn't know Hebrew.
I'm gonna have a nightmare about this.
I have nightmares like that. I get up, I unroll the scroll, and it's a language I've never seen.
I
Right?
take 'em.
Yeah. So anyway, what I think Targum Ashkenazi is the Torah translated into what is either German or Yiddish, but it looks more to me like German. It doesn't look to me like, or some kind of Judeo-German. It doesn't really sound quite like Yiddish. Maybe it is just Yiddish, I don't know. But written with Hebrew letters. So it's like if I was to pass you a note, like we used to do in Hebrew school because we were bad kids, right? And we had learned enough Hebrew to write in Hebrew letters, "This class is so boring, I am going to die," right? And you would pass it, right? To your, right? Okay. So that's essentially what's been done here. So for example, this part over here is Aseret HaDibrot. It's the 10 Commandments, right? So if I look in the Hebrew and it says Lo Tirtzach, which means "you shall not murder," right? I go over here. And in Hebrew letters it says, I think this is German. It says "Du willst nicht morden," you shall not murder, right? If I go to Lo tignov, it says "und nicht stehlen," which means to steal, and it's written in Hebrew letters. So one really fascinating question is, who was this Targum written for? It was written for somebody who couldn't read and understand Hebrew, right? But knew enough didn't know Hebrew, but knew enough of the alphabet to be able to read the German, but in Hebrew letters.
Cool.
So interesting, right?
Rashi did that with his French.
What'd you say?
Did Rashi do that with his, he mixed in the French?
When Rashi didn't know how to render a thought or a word into Hebrew, he would put an abbreviation in Bela'az, Bet Lamed Ayin Zayin, which stands for Belashon Amzar, which literally means in a foreign language,
Okay.
by which he meant his native language of French, but it was foreign with respect to the Torah, right?
Okay.
So, I'm not going to say storage unit, right? This is an example of something that I find this moving and cool and holy and beautiful, right? And I think excited fascination is a way of being Jewish. I think it's one of the options. So yeah, I will at the end. I'm gonna put this over here. We gotta move. We're running late, but I will leave this over here. You can look at it. I trust you completely. I'm just gonna ask you to be gentle with it, but you can take a look at this. It's like show and tell. We had show and tell today.
How do you feel
That was
about
great. I liked that.
What's that?
How do you feel about
Treasure
treasure chest?
chest?
Probably not big enough.
It's not, well, I don't know, treasure chest, yeah. You know what, look, I will take suggestions for the proper metaphor for this. And if you,
Storage unit, because all,
Would you
a lot
put
of-
it in an ark?
a lot of religions have baggage too, right? And there's certain things that you come across that sometimes aren't always that appealing, right? right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think storage unit is actually a good,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I mean, you could say it's the Great Jewish Geniza, right? So the Geniza is the room in ancient synagogues where worn out Torah scrolls and texts and other things would just be stuffed, like the Cairo Geniza, right, which was this great discovery. The problem is that's like a joke that by the time you end up explaining it, it's not funny anymore, because then you have to like sit and go, well, let me tell you about what a Geniza is, and then if you have ADHD, you're like talking about the Big Bang before you're done. So it's just like, yeah. All right, let's go to Aleinu on the inside back. Thank you. Inside back. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Here
All right.
every week, I know.
Aleinu d'shabech l'Adon hakol, ha'tegila le'yotzeh b'reshit, shehu asanu k'shomrei ha'adama, v'hu samanu k'shlichei ha'torah, shehu sam chayenu itam, v'dor aleinu im kol ha'olam, v'achnu kor'im, u'mishtachavim u'modim, V'ifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, v'yom ha'ahu, yiyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo Kaddish is page 598. Anybody? Somebody? Yeah.
They're pretty fun, that's what it's,
Okay. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, b'yama divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach la'alam v'la'omei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. As usually do, we can kind of come in like this. May it be that some of the quiet and joy and calm and fellowship and love of this time will stay with us as we go our separate ways, and may that love and light and inspiration help us in our own lives to spread light. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichonecha, may God shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yaseh lecha shalom, may God be with you and give you wholeness and peace. Together we say.
Amen.
So nice.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, you bet. You bet. Thanks for coming.
I don't know what's going on with J.K. Rowling because I don't watch the news. It made me paranoid.
Oh. Yeah, she
She said something mean, didn't she?
yeah, she said some mean stuff that hurt a lot of people.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
Nothing.